right, this just in, she is mad as hell. Now, according to an exclusive report in the New York Post, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and her famous philandering husband, they're outraged that they're being compared to Anthony Weiner and his loyal wife, Huma. Now, sources close to the former first couple told the Post, quote, the Clintons are pissed off that Weiner's campaign is saying that Huma's just like Hillary. How dare they compare her with Hillary? Hillary was the first lady. She was a senator. She was Secretary of State. Now, I'll admit Hillary's resume is a bit more extensive than Huma's. However, whether the Clintons like it or not, the parallels between Bill's behavior and Carlos Danger's X-rated antics, they're simply too obvious to ignore. And the same goes with Hillary and Huma's handling of these salacious sagas. Don't believe me? Well, watch this.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
This Twitter picture in question is a hack or a prank that someone posted on my Twitter page.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky that was not appropriate.
To be clear, the picture was of me, and I sent it.
I must take complete responsibility for all my actions, both public and private. And that is why I'm speaking to you tonight.
I came here to accept the full responsibility for what I've done.
You know, I'm not sitting here as some little woman standing by my man like Tammy Wynette. I'm sitting here because I love him.
I love him. I have forgiven him.
And I respect him.
I believe in him.
This is not an arrangement or an understanding. This is a marriage.
I made the decision that it was worth staying in this marriage.
I misled people, including even my wife. I deeply regret that.
I'm deeply sorry for the pain this has caused my wife, Huma, and our family.
So is it fair to compare? Here to debate, former Clinton advisor Bernard Whitman and the co-host of The Five, Andrea Tantaros. Do you believe it's true that they're livid?
I think that they probably are upset, and here's why. The differences couldn't be more stark. Bill Clinton was a political genius who forged new coalitions, won back the Reagan Democrats, was propelled to office twice.
Stop this.
No, it's not spin, Sean. It's the facts. Created more jobs than any president in modern history, and fought off a ridiculous attempt to remove him from office.
How is it not fair? I don't want a regurgitation of the Clinton years. I asked you a simple question. Is it fair to compare? And if not, why not?
The reason why is Anthony Weiner is a complete political lightweight. He served 12 years in Congress, didn't get much done. He is now a disgraced private citizen with a serious case of erectile dysfunction.
What would you call Bill Clinton's?
And he has no support. He has no support. He has no natural constituency.
And what do you call Bill Clinton and Monica?
And most people want him to drop out.
What do you call Bill Clinton and Monica?
Bill Clinton continued to fight for his job because 60% of the American people wanted him to stay in office.
I didn't ask you that. Is that not a problem Bill Clinton had sex with an intern in the Oval Office?
Totally different. Here's why. That was a private act, and unfortunately for Weiner, his public sex antics sort of reinforced the notion that he's a little creepy and annoying.
And you don't think Clinton's creepy?
A cell phone makes the difference?
No, one was a private act. He used the internet and social media. He broadcast himself. Okay, I don't think most women would enjoy that.
It's Jennifer Flowers. It's Paula Jones. The only difference between the two of them is that Anthony Weiner said he would never do it again. Bill Clinton didn't, right? Anthony Weiner stood at that press conference last year. He said, I will never do this again. I'll never do this to my wife. He didn't. Bill never made that promise to Hillary or the public. And look, arguably, Bill Clinton paved the way for Anthony Weiner. If Bill Clinton wouldn't have had his sex scandals, plural, we would never have politicians like Anthony Weiner, the one in San Diego, Elliot Spitzer, thinking that they can, you know, just do whatever they want.
If that were the case, then Anthony Weiner would be ahead in the polls, not being urged by the majority of New Yorkers to drop out.
There is
That's not the case.
Bernard, he was leading until this, and I'll tell you what, it's because Anthony Weiner got caught a second time lying. It's not the resume. Take the resumes off the table. Don't tell me about Bill Clinton, how great he is, and take it off. Sex scandal versus sex scandal.
Anthony Weiner has no base of support, and Bill Clinton, frankly, had an enormous
he was winning in the polls. Andrea's right. So my question to you is, you seem like such a sycophant of the Clintons. You don't seem outraged at all that a president of the United States had sex with an intern in the Oval Office, lied about it, lost his law license as a result of it, and sworn perjury,
we
perjured
adjudicated
himself.
this 15 years ago. The American people, and myself included, the majority of the American people, and myself included, said, you know what? I was upset at the president. Yes. Why? Because it impacted his ability to carry out his agenda during the year that Ken Starr went on a witch hunt trying to throw him out of office.
Okay, but you don't
and the American people rightly were pissed more at the Republicans for wasting taxpayer time.
It's okay that he
eating up all of the government.
You're okay with that? That
the fact it is a private matter between two adults.
So
he had his law license
I'm not going to judge.
Tell that to Jennifer Flowers. Tell that to Paula Jones. Tell that to all the women. Tell it to the women that he paid off. He had his law license suspended. I mean, listen, I know Bill Clinton changed the way we look at sex in politics.
And he changed the way we create jobs in an economy.
People like Bernard who sit around and say private matter, private matter, private matter. And I will say this for Bill Clinton. People were doing better, and so they didn't care as much. This is different. New York isn't doing that well. The country isn't doing that well. They're ticked off that people like Anthony Weiner and Elliot Spitzer, because of Bill Clinton, can get away with this behavior.
This behavior has been going on for a long time before Bill Clinton. That is not fair.
There's one other issue here, and John Funn reminded me the other night that deep embedded in the Starr report is this little issue of other countries knowing about this, and it compromises our security. That, to me, was the biggest issue.
If you want to go to security and compromising security, Bill Clinton's the guy who gave the Pakistanis the nuke. So,
okay, now because he had sex with Monica Lewinsky, Pakistan got the nukes. I mean, come on.
President when it comes to national
the reason
security.
why you guys want to draw this parallel is you're still ticked off at the Clintons because he created more jobs and did a better job as president, far better than most Republicans in the 20th century.
I think Hillary would have been a better president than Obama.
Is that an endorsement for 2016,
It has nothing to do with his economic record, Bernard. It has to do with the fact that he paved the way. He paved the way for all of these sex scandals. So now we have a country that is facing moral
John Kennedy did that.
It's women are just supposed to stand by their man and go,
No, they're not.
Yes.
Here's another difference.
Lovely. And then be a permanent victim.
Let me point out another difference.
Okay.
When Ken Starr went on his witch hunt, it had been 23 years of marriage for the Clintons. When the sexting scandal broke, the Weiners had been married less than 1 year.
I'm not sure which is
situation.
worse. I'm not sure which is worse.
I think Bill was worse. If you want my opinion, for what it's worth, they're both awful. All right,
true.
Coming up, Fox Business own Charles Gasparino is going to join us to talk about his investigation into the government's high-profile crackdown of insider trading. All the details. Brand new book is coming up next. Circle of Friends, straight ahead.